Good morning. This is a very exciting time in our church. After what felt like years of transition, no, wait a minute, it was years of transition, we have finally reached a point of stability with a truly outstanding set of ministers. James' sermons dependably challenge my thinking and inspire me to be a better person and to engage more deeply with our church and our larger community. We also have an amazing director of religious education. Carol's creativity and enthusiasm engage our young people in spiritually meaningful lessons and activities every week. This stability has put us in a position where we are ready to develop our educational programs and more effectively live our values in the larger community. And our new mission statement captures what I believe our strengths are. We are a church community that is committed to social justice and open to wonder. Social justice, however, requires more than lofty ideals and passionate talk. It requires action and coordination. And fostering an openness to wonder does not happen spontaneously. Wonder is a habit of mind that develops out of an educational program that is thoughtfully planned, that spans all ages. This is why we have set the ambitious 3-year goal of creating 2 part-time positions, a social justice coordinator and an assistant director of religious education. But I'll be honest with you, I'm impatient. I want us to reach our goal this year, and I know we can. In a curious way, both of these positions mirror for me a significant shift in my perspective about what is important. Like many of you, the political turmoil of the past 2 years has challenged me to reevaluate how I can best work toward a world that reflects my values. The 24-hour news cycle frequently grabs my attention and moves me to despair more than not. I tend to be an upbeat and happy person, but these past 2 years have been difficult in the face of national politics. I frequently feel like the very fabric of our larger culture is unraveling. I've grown weary from being angry all the time at what I see. Being aware of what is going on and being angry about it is not enough. Action is needed. But action on the level of our national government often feels fruitless. I have found that what I need is more concrete evidence that what I do matters and that what I do makes a difference. For me, I increasingly focus my attention on the small scale of our local community and this church. I'm reminded of the story of the star thrower that you may be familiar with. Once upon a time, there was an old man who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach every morning before he began his work. Early one morning, he was walking along the shore after a big storm had passed and found the vast beach littered with starfish as far as the eye could see, stretching in both directions. Off in the distance, the old man noticed a small girl approaching. As the girl walked, she paused ever so often, and as she grew closer, the man could see that she was occasionally bending down to pick up an object and throw it into the sea. The girl came closer still, and the man called out, "Good morning, may I ask what you're doing?" The young girl paused and looked up and replied, "Throwing starfish into the ocean. The tide has washed them up onto the beach, and they can't return to the sea by themselves," the youth replied. "When the sun gets high, they will die unless I throw them back into the water." The old man replied, shaking his head, "But there must be tens of thousands of starfish on this beach. I'm afraid you won't really be making much of a difference." The girl bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it as far as she could into the ocean. Then she turned and smiled and said, "I made a difference to that one." In these troubled times, I resist becoming the old man in the story, cynical and pessimistic. Instead, I strive to be more like the child. To that end, I have chosen to give to this church, and this year I have chosen to give a little more financially. And if each of us gives a little more than we did last year, we can reach our Canvas goal. As we bring together our collective resources, we can also begin, however modestly, to pick up the loose threads of our culture and reweave the fabric of our larger community. The 2 new part-time positions that are a part of this year's Canvas will move us in that direction. As a volunteer in the religious education program, I have seen the development of what we offer our youth, and it is very impressive. What we create downstairs embodies what our new faith community believes. This is what my kids learned being raised in this church. And now that my kids are nearly grown, I can see how valuable their experience in RE was. Just one example of this is the Our Whole Lives program, abbreviated OWL, which holistically teaches our youth about human sexuality. We want to expand our OWL offerings beyond the narrow window of puberty. The new assistant DRE position would help us achieve this goal. I personally think it is critical that we help people of all ages, from kindergartners to Supreme Court justices, understand and recognize what healthy, mature sexuality looks like. Beyond religious education, this is a social justice issue that I feel strongly about. I can imagine how a social justice coordinator could work with our UU men's group, for example, to support Renewal House, the only domestic violence agency in St. Lawrence County. This is just one example of how these 2 positions could help move us forward to achieving our mission and living our values. Perhaps you can think of others. In our Spirit Play classroom, we light a felt-board chalice with the words, "We are the Unitarian Universalist Church, the church of the open mind, the church of the helping hands, and the church of the loving heart." For me, when my mind is open and when my hands are engaged in making the world a better place, my heart follows along and swells with love and generosity. From this place of love and generosity, my mind is expanded further, and my hands are energized in the direction of social justice. Please join me in helping us realize our Canvas goals this year and continuing the momentum we have built in making this church a force for the greater good in this community. Thank you.